Today we're going to take a look at some of the reports available in the Teacher Portal Gradebook. We'll start by logging into the Teacher Portal. And once we log in, we need to confirm that we're viewing the correct course that we want to view reports in, and also the correct school and school year. And in the Gradebook menu, there's a menu that pulls out to the right under Gradebook Reports, and there are three particular reports that we're going to talk about today in this Tech Byte. The three that we're going to look at are the Missing Assignment Summary, the Student Progress Report, and the Roster Grid Report. So the first one that we're going to take a look at is the Missing Assignment Summary. The first tab that we come to is the Setup Report tab, and here we're going to choose the marking period, which will default to the current marking period, and I'll just leave that as the default there. And then we can choose whether we want to list this particular report, the Missing Assignment Summary, according to students with corresponding assignments, or if we want the report to be ordered by assignments and then show the students that are missing each particular assignment. So I will leave it as the default here, initially set up to list the students and any corresponding missing assignments. And then I'll click on the print button, and we can see an example of the Missing Assignment Summary for the particular class, the teacher and marking period that we're looking at. And then we chose to order according to student. So that is the first column of information here. We have 3 students in this instance that are missing assignments. And then for each of these students, we can see the assignment due date, the assignment name, and the description for that particular assignment. We can also choose to export that to another format if we wish. We can also choose to print the hard copy of that report. If I go back to the Setup Report tab, then I can change any of my settings. I can change my marking period if I wish, or I can choose to order the report with a list of assignments listed first and then the students who correspond to those. And so it looks a little bit different. Here we see the due date of the assignment, the name, the description, and then any students that are missing that particular assignment. So that concludes the Missing Assignments Summary. The next report that we're going to look at, also in the Gradebook menu under Gradebook Reports, is the Student Progress Report. Again, we see that the first tab here is the Setup Report. We have some different options available. We can choose to limit the report according to a student range. For instance, if we wanted to look at a student progress report for all of our seniors, we could sort based on year of graduation and choose only those students who are in the current year of graduation. In this instance, I'm just going to leave all of my students selected here. We can also choose based on the marking period again, and we can choose to limit the report according to a particular marking period average. If, for example, we wanted to look at a student progress report for all students who have dangerously low average for the marking period, and we wanted to look at an average of 0 to 59, we could do that. Let's see that for our seniors, for example, to see if there are any students who we have concerns about as far as upcoming graduation and their class average. So there are different pieces of information that we can sort and choose to look at in the Student Progress Report. And then additionally, we have many other options here, different checkboxes where it says include checked items in report, and you can see some of the defaults here, which I will just leave selected for our purposes, to include the current final average on the progress report, graded assignment, and or non-graded assignment detail, missing assignment, exempt, unpublished, any of the teacher notes for the assignments, marking period teacher notes, and announcements. So we'll leave that selected in this instance, and then we can also choose the order that we want to see that student progress report. If we want to see all the due dates of the assignments listed to order that student progress report, or if we want them sorted by category, such as homework and tests and so forth, we can do that. So if we click on the print button, we can see a sample of the student progress report. So in this instance here, we're looking initially at Amy, and we can see the current final average of 84, the quarter average, any comments included by the teacher here, teacher notes we can see, announcements, course announcements, since we chose to include those, and then the class summary includes the different categories that the teacher is grading. In this instance, we see homework and tests and quizzes, and then we see the assignments listed for Amy. And if we want to page forward, then we see our next student, Vincent, and his corresponding information for the student progress report, and we can just continue to page through to view these student progress reports. We can export them to another format if we wish, to a soft copy document for the purpose of email, for example, or we can choose to print any of these progress reports. And then we also can return over to the Setup Report tab if we want to make any changes, look at a different marking period, or select any of the other available options. And also another interesting item to note about the Student Progress Report is that it's also available in the staff, parent, and student portals. That concludes the Student Progress Report. The third and last report that we're going to take a look at is the roster grid report. So we're going to choose that report in the gradebook reports. And again, we have the option, or the first tab, to set up the report. You can see some different options available here. You have some flexibility if you want to see the report in a portrait or landscape format, depending on the layout that you prefer or the number of columns in the report. And also if you want to see the roster grid in a single or double-spaced report format. If the teacher wants to label the columns, they have that option as well. So if, for example, maybe something they want to post in the classroom for different reasons, could be for the purpose of students returning permission slips, could be for a sign-in, sign-out type of document. We'll look at an example here. So you can see that since we chose the portrait style, so we have the 8.5 by 11 style layout, and then we have the columns that we chose to label all of the student names, and this is listed in the single-spaced format. In this instance, I can go back and I can change that if I want to see the landscape and make it double-spaced. And then I can also take a look at that. We see that the format looks a little bit different, so this gives a lot of flexibility to the teacher for whatever purposes that they might want to have this particular class roster available for their students. And the teacher also then has the option to title the report. So again, it could be for the purposes of students returning permission slips for a field trip, could be for a sign-in, sign-out type of purposes, but there's certainly a multitude of reasons this could be a very helpful and useful report. And so that takes us through the roster grid report.